Well, speaking of the the more novelty sizes, do you smoke much of that stuff? I mean, I've got Serie V Culebra. When we were in New Orleans, we smoked the Abe's
Oh
Abe's
yeah, yeah.
Culebra, but
Yeah.
that was my only Culebra experience.
I had for a while some Partagas Culebras that I would only. I don't. I mean, a Culebra is only good when you're smoking with other people, unless you like trying to smoke three cigars at once. In my opinion, I get those when I have an opportunity to, and I never smoke them except when there's going to be when we've had people come in from out of town that are visiting or just an unusually large group of people around. I'd break it out and say, all right, guys, let's burn one of these, and so I've had the La Flor Dominicana Culebra. It has three different the wrappers on it. It was good. The bad part about that, the sad part about that, is because they're all different smokes. You're always wondering, well, mine was good, but I wonder how those other ones are. So that's the one Culebra I'd consider lighting, starting, and smoking through all three of them myself, if you can find them. They're really tough to find. So I've had the Partagas ones. I did actually buy, and this is weird, but one shop locally they had the Illusion 2/3 or 2/3, the 23 some people call it. I don't know how you say it, but they sold off one of the sticks. So the Culebra in the box was loose, but there were two loose ones. So I think I bought one of those one time just for the smoke it. And that actually I found, and I think I've heard this before, had a rather firm draw and was kind of messed up the experience for me. I think that would probably benefit from the lower humidities. But for the most part, the really interesting, kind of unusual shapes like that, I don't smoke them that often. The Culebra's, I think, a cigar that, it's fun to share with people. Padilla's, it's not a Culebra, but it's an interesting kind of quirky stick. The Habano, Burberry, Figurado, or whatever he's calling it now. The one I call the Gringo stick.
I think it's the
He makes
artisan now.
Yeah, he makes it. He makes it for gringos because even like I think he told me that most real cigar smokers would smoke them in, and it's got all the wrappers on it. It's a really good smoke. So when I find those, I will smoke those just for fun because they taste good and they look cool. So I don't often smoke them at home. It's one of those things where hey, I'm out, people are smoking interesting things. I'm going to show off a little bit. So it's kind of good for that. And it's really good. I think Jerry reviewed it like forever ago, and he really liked it, and I've really liked it. So,
I think I have one floating around in my humidor. I think you might have sent it to me. I'm gonna have to dig through and find that.
I've got they started boxing those up from whichever catalog sells it the most. They have 5-pack boxes that I bought the last time, and I picked up a few of those, and I thought they were. Yeah, so I try to keep some of those around, but I can't tell you the last time I smoked one.
Speaking of Padilla, last I heard, he sold his lounge in Cayocho. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I haven't. But that was the subject of one of those novelty posts I did, the Taris. I think wasn't he the one I awarded most predicted to fail without failing or something like that? Or I like the guy, and we talk crap back and forth a little bit on Twitter. And hopefully, he doesn't take it personally or anything like that. If you're seeing this, I'm just messing with you, man. I keep hearing stuff like that. I keep hearing this and that, and he's having trouble. This is going to happen. That's going to happen, and I haven't heard that, but I don't know if any of the rumors are true. It's a nice place, but it might make financial sense for him to do it. I don't know the guy's business. I don't really know his finances. I just know the rumors. So it sounds like the rumors I've heard, but the rumors I've heard haven't always been very accurate because the guy's still making cigars.
Yeah, if it's true, I don't know if the price was right or whether he just needed to get rid of the space, but he seems to be doing pretty well. Studio Tobacco is doing a cigar for him. Anytime you open up the CI catalog, there's always some sort of micro batch or something going on. He's he's definitely a presence in the cigar industry, and his product is readily available.
And he's coming out with new stuff. I picked up a couple of new things he came out with, and I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but I know there was I forget what it was. It was like a Maduro version, and there was like a Habano or a natural version. I picked up one of each. I haven't tried either one of them. So he's coming out with new stuff. I know I think at one point I talked to him, probably when I was doing a review, or I forget. He just emailed out of the blue, and he gave me a bunch of information about cigars that were upcoming, Artemis and things like that. So he's still coming out with stuff.
One of the things about him is I think he's got, some of the most elegant bands in the business. I mean, they're just beautiful packaging, and he does all the work himself, which is even more amazing.
Yeah, and I think the one of the many rumors circulating about the guy is that he was at one point a graphic artist or something like that, and I completely believe it, because his stuff, his bands are, they're fantastic, a lot of them, and and apparently he's doing it himself. I don't have actual confirmation of that, but yeah, he doesn't seem to be quite the powerhouse that he was a few years ago, but he's always around, and he's making new stuff. So I like seeing that. I wish the guy well, always. So
speaking of the Studio Tobacco making a cigar for him, have you tried any of the new Studio Tobacco stuff that came out? Has the tour rolled through Atlanta? I haven't really been keeping up with where it's been.
I think it may have, and I missed it. So no, I haven't had any of the new stuff at all. I mean, I couldn't tell you anything about any of it. I know, well, you were on some sort of a panel or advisory committee or something like that, and they sent you a bunch of stuff. I know you put out some posts on it and such. What are your thoughts on that? How is that going? I don't know anything about the cigars, to be honest. I know there was a Lancero, and there's a bunch of stuff people were out, really out to get. There's like a 5-pack or box thing or special edition, but
yeah, if you bought,
I think you came through and I missed it.
Yeah, if you bought a box, you got this 5-pack sampler. Before the tour started, they sent the advisory board members this sampler. Of the 5 cigars, I didn't really care for 2 of them, both of which were Maduros. But the whole concept is kind of interesting, because one of the things I've been saying about Oliva for quite some time is, they seem like a very conservative company. You don't see them coming out with a lot of new stuff, and they're kind of slow to the market. When they do come out with the V or the V Maduro, it does make a huge splash, and everyone's sort of looking for it. But they do seem to be kind of slow with the releases. With Studio Tobacco being sort of the creative arm of the company, they're taking a very aggressive move, and they're pumping out new product, and they're very exciting and interesting. So the whole concept is really interesting, that your core Oliva followers that want that traditional conservative sort of company have that option, but the younger, more hip crowd, if you will, has Studio Tobacco for lots of new releases and that fast-paced sort of action.
And the people that chase special editions and such, or you gave them something there. But yeah, I think it's generally a good thing. Yeah, they've got. That's the thing. They seem to do incredibly well, and they don't have to do a lot of advertising or a lot of events or anything. They're in every humidor, it seems. Going back to the question about what should be in every humidor, Oliva should be in every humidor. I think they're reasonably priced. They're pretty conservative, good value, good flavor, that sort of thing, and they haven't really needed to, but I don't know, maybe they do. Maybe the most recent craze of like just tons of everybody's coming out with special editions and limited editions and such makes them, kind of puts pressure on them to address that trend, just in case it winds up becoming a significant portion of the market. I'm not sure how much it is really, but
Well, it does seem to give them that edge where, because you get a lot of consumers that get upset when they see a company come out with a lot of limited edition stuff that's hard to find or very expensive. And it kind of puts them in a position where, they're doing it, but they're not doing it because Oliva isn't. You know, it's more the studio tobacco arm that's taking advantage of that craze. So it
Yeah.
seems like it's great on their part anyway.
No, I think it's a good thing. I think it's not bad. I mean, whatever you think about, the small stuff like that, the kind of, rush, little tiny micro batches and such rushing out there. I mean, there's a market for it. I think it's a good thing. And because Oliva's behind it, there's a really good chance, and I think it's the whole point of it, that something that really hits and really does well is going to wind up being something that's readily available, most likely.
Well, what type of consumer are you? Do you sort of jump in there and go searching out limited edition stuff, or are you more along the lines of like how I am, where I just kind of lay back and if it becomes available, I get it. If not, I don't
wait
worry
for the
about
women to drop it in your lap and light it up for you. I used to chase things down. Part of it's a function of how many cigars I have. I just have way too many. The wife always gives me hell about it. And so I don't usually chase down special editions or limited editions, but sometimes like I used to. I do at times simply because, well, people are going to want to see reviews, and that's going to generate page views and such. So I do it for that purpose. If I weren't writing reviews, I would do pretty much. I'd probably fall into a case of if it shows up in the local humidor, the local cigar shop, I'll try it. And if not, it doesn't. So I've seen this. There's been some stuff that I would have liked to have tried that have come and gone that I never got a hold of, and it's, as kind of wish I would have found some, but at the same time, the industry's tough. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I mean, for everything new and cool that comes along, there's a lot of established stuff that's easy to buy, and I already know I like, so I can always go get that. And, oh well, if I miss something,
Well, how much buying are you doing locally as compared to online? Because for a little while you were buying quite a bit online, I think. Are you sort of sticking more locally, because of all the events and stuff you have going on, or is that 23% Georgia tax a real burden?
It is kind of a pain. I mean, you definitely feel it when I'm writing up the reviews. I usually quote MSRP, that's the real MSRP, before any sort of local add-on taxes. So I've definitely noticed whenever I'm writing this stuff up, I'm usually like, yeah, that's what it would be if we didn't have 23% thrown on top of it. At I think the wholesale level or whatever. I don't buy very much online. It's kind of dangerous. You buy one thing and you want to buy a little bit more, it's such a good deal on a box. You get a box, then you get oh crap, I got a box, where I'm going to put all this. So and then there's the whole concept of supporting your local shop. I think that, my local shop being Buckhead Cigar would do fine if I wasn't in there buying constantly, but for the most part I go in there and I buy from him, or if I go stop at anytime I visit a cigar shop, I always wind up buying cigars. And I usually try to keep myself to, try to limit it to, 5 or so. But every now and then somebody's running a deal and they're running the same problem. But I try to buy stuff locally as much as I can. I can smoke at home, but it's nice to have a shop.
I'm kind of in the same situation. I don't buy much online these days. I mean, I have been doing a little bit of purchasing lately. I came across a pretty good deal on Cigar Monster, so I bought a couple of 5-packs there, and then a couple of months ago I bought 2 boxes from CI when Pinar del Rio, the old stuff, was on sale. But outside of that, if I can't get it locally, I like to just give Mike a call and tell him, hey, send me something, because the price is good and I like dealing with him. And on top of that, he's a local shop, so I'm not my local shop, but I'm supporting a brick and mortar business.
Yeah, that's and you have. I mean, you got some leeway in it because I heard that one of your locals, the shop that used to hang out at quite a bit, closed down. So I mean, if you don't really have a local shop and you got to drive 20, 30 minutes or something to get to one, I mean, at that point you're kind of like, well, I don't really have a local guy to support, and that you don't really have a local lounge to hang at very often. So At that point, who can blame you for buying them online? But calling somebody up, a brick and mortar, somebody you like, and supporting them, that's always a good thing. And I found that especially if Mike knows you, he'll give you a good I know that I've seen him. He boxes up a lot of cigars. He has a lot of people, getting in touch with him to pick stuff up, and he's always boxing things up. And a lot of times, if he knows the person, he throws in a few extra things. Here's something else, that I have, maybe they'll like, and they'll give them that, and maybe they'll come back and buy some more. I think that's how he got you into the Buckhead edition. The Dano Buckhead edition or whatever it is.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit, and I got a 5-pack of his Buckhead Special Selection, which is really interesting because I don't really care for the Nestor Miranda Special Selection, but for whatever reason, the one with the Buckhead band on it is like head over heels better. I think the Nestor Miranda Special Selection was missing something. It was a decent cigar, but for whatever it is, Mike's Buckhead version has what the other one was missing, and I like it quite a bit.
My understanding is what it has is a little extra Ligero in it, so the blend is a little bit different. And it seems to be pretty popular. I mean, I know he smokes the heck out of the Buckhead Dano, so, but yeah, that's how he does it. So, I mean, if you have a shop that takes you, you got a pack of lunch to get to. I mean, I can understand buying online, and there's stuff that Mike doesn't carry. Every now and then, I feel like picking it up, and yeah, I might order something online occasionally. But it's mostly local because I've got a bunch of friends. A lot of the shop owners I consider friends, so. Most of the time I can find something, whatever I'm looking for, I can find it at one of the other shops if Mike doesn't carry it. So I wind up doing that. I mean, sure, you wind up spending a little bit more money, but that also keeps me, I guess in a way that kind of keeps me from buying too many. I always have space issues with it. It's always have too many cigars. I've got some baggies right now that are sitting on top of the humidor that's got humidipacks in them that, I mean, it's overflow. I don't know where to put them, so yeah.
Well, how much smoking are you doing at home versus Buckhead? Because it's really close. And does that lead to you smoking a large variety, or do you find yourself sort of falling into a groove and smoking the same stuff more often?
It really depends because I do wind up smoking some stuff more often. Some of his some of the things he carries that I really like, I wind up smoking a little more often. But he does get there's always new stuff coming in, which is another thing I think is good for a shop to do, to always have new stuff coming in, even if it's not a lot. So there's a lot of times I'll find myself smoking a bunch of whatever's new coming in. I don't know. I vary it up. I'm not usually one that smokes a lot of the same cigar, especially not the same day. Every now and then, if I've won something, or I buy a box or whatever, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm saving this and that for a review, and it's easy to get at. Sometimes I'll go in and grab some of the same cigar and smoke it a couple times the same day. But I tend to be experimental with it. I'm the way with cigars that I am with say microbrews, craft beers. I want to see, there's always, there's stuff I like that I will go back to, but I always try to mix in something new or something I haven't had in a while in anything that, any given day that I'm smoking. I don't know how much I smoke at home and how much I smoke at the shop. It really varies. It depends on what time I get there. It depends on how busy I am at home. So, I don't know, man. I really don't have a figure. It's up and down. I mean, you'd be some days it's like, wow, I'm a chimney, and some days it's like, wow, I didn't hardly smoke anything today.
Yeah, I'm probably good for about one a day, depending on what I've got going on. If I'm working from home, I try to sneak one in the morning, before my wife gets up, and then I might get one in the evening on those days when I'm working from home. But when I go to the shop, I'm usually going to sit down for a little while, and I might have 3 or 4, and sometimes you just kind of just get in the groove, and you have that great conversation, and you next thing you know, the shop owner's telling you, "Hey, look, I'm closing up in 10 minutes," and
Yeah.
you know, I've been sitting there for 6 hours, and I've burned 5 or 6 cigars.
Yeah. And that happens. I mean, it depends on how long I'm at the shop. I have the benefit of one of the really smart things I think that Mike did, in addition to the placement of the shop and everything. There's a lot of really wise decisions that went into where he's at. But one of the great things he does is he doesn't close up at 7 or 8 o'clock like a lot of shops do. He's open until midnight. And being the night owl that I am, I'll head over sometimes as late as 10, and I don't always have time to smoke more than 1, maybe 2 cigars, but there's that. So I mean, I may wind up actually smoking more at home than I do there, but I'm usually good for a couple a day. I don't want to. I don't know what the real figure is. It really depends on how late I stay up. And if I start getting into the beer, sometimes it's a little higher. Sometimes the night gets kind of late. Bottles stack up. The bands stack up.
Well, that's great. Just like you said, in the shops in my area, they close up 7, 8, and I think the latest is 9 o'clock on like a Friday night. And if I had a place that was relatively close, walking distance would be perfect. But if there was a shop that was open until midnight, that'd be especially on a weekend, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, oh yeah. I wonder how much longer we need to give him the shout out, talk about him to get him advertised with us. What do you think?
Well, I do kind of feel indebted to him a little bit. When I told you I ordered a box from him, and when I was talking to him, he says, "Hey, look, I guess he was down to the last of it." And he said, I don't have an unopened box. This box is open. All of them are there, but the box is open. It's fine. I'm gonna open the box anyway. So along with the box, there was an extra 3 sticks thrown in. 3 of the I bought a box of the La Traviata Maduro, and I guess maybe you had 3 laying in the bottom of an empty box, so they were included in the purchase price. So it was, things like that really go sort of over the top, and I appreciate that kind of stuff.
Well, he's got the customer service thing nailed. He's a character, and he also takes care of people. I mean, I don't aside from just jerks that walk in and don't follow the rules or just act up. I mean, nobody leaves that place unhappy. He makes sure everybody's taken care of. I can't complain. I mean, he takes care of me really well, so I mean, there's no complaints there. And I know he's doing little things like, and he didn't even have to do it, but I think he's part of the whole process behind the smoking a JJ for JJ. So he's involved in that in some way. I think he's like one of the either the main supplier of the cigars or one of the main suppliers of the cigars. I think he's working on a website for that. So he does little things like that, and then little things like that matter. I mean, it's not just the cigars you have, but it's the service and all that other stuff. The little things you make people come back, and he does that really well. He's got that nailed.
I think he's a prime example of breaking the mold of your typical cigar shop and just going above and beyond what is expected, and just doing those little extras to draw in a different customer base, and it goes a long way.
And hell, I mean, people come into town, he goes buck wild. The Vance will have food, and we'll go out to eat, and I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you got to come down and visit sometime. Let him give you the Buckhead cigar treatment.
What is that? Just cigars, Waffle House cigars, Waffle House.
That's part of it. And sometimes it's one of the local pizza shops that does a killer. We call it pizza, where is more animal carnage on top of it than anything else. It's deep with animal. There's a little bit of crust, there's some cheese and some sauce, but it's just crazy. I mean, things like that. Sometimes with even. Like, I know when Jerry's come in, we wound up going over to New York Prime. It's just nuts. I mean, it's crazy. He goes all out. But the thing is anybody that comes in and visits, they're gonna go to Buckhead Cigar, and they're gonna hang out there. They're gonna buy cigars from him, because the guy, you you can't help but do it. I mean, the guy treats you so well, and you know, you'd feel bad if you went anywhere else. And you know, I feel bad for the other guys that own shops that I like. I mean, I don't get over there, but I mean, I don't know. I'd almost feel guilty not going over to Mike's shop. So